Let's look at this road map that shows the days of Lent that get us to Easter. Every year, the season of Lent begins on Ash Wednesday. That was the day when we went to church and had our foreheads marked with ashes in a cross. Lent lasts for 40 days, plus the Sundays during Lent. You can count out the days of Lent on this map. During Lent, we do not eat meat on Ash Wednesday or on Fridays. That's why you see a drawing of a fish on Ash Wednesday and on every Friday. The color for the season of Lent is purple. You see 5 purple circles for the first Sunday of Lent, and the second Sunday, and the third Sunday, and the 5th Sunday, and the 6th Sunday, which is Palm Sunday. For the 4th Sunday of Lent, there is a pink circle. The 4th Sunday of Lent is Laetare Sunday. Laetare Sunday is the halfway mark of the season of Lent. Pink reminds us to rejoice about being halfway through Lent. After Laetare Sunday, Pink Sunday, is the 5th Sunday of Lent. And the Sunday after that is Palm Sunday. Palm Sunday is the day we remember when people praised Jesus when he rode a donkey into Jerusalem. The city of Jerusalem can be seen on this map of the Holy Land. Remember the 3 parts of the Holy Land? On the top, Galilee. Below Galilee, Samaria. At the bottom, Judea. Jerusalem is in Judea, and it is marked with a red X on this map. Jerusalem is near Bethlehem, where Jesus was born. The people loved Jesus so much that crowds gathered on the roads as he came into Jerusalem. The people put palm branches on the ground in front of Jesus as he rode a donkey into the city. Jesus was coming to Jerusalem because it was the time of Passover, a Jewish holiday. Remember, Jesus was a Jewish man, and Jesus followed Jewish holidays. Many artists have made paintings about that day when Jesus rode into Jerusalem. One of those artists was Pietro Lorenzetti. He made this painting. It shows people putting palm branches on the ground for Jesus' donkey to walk on. One man even put his coat on the ground so that Jesus' donkey did not have to walk on dirt. Everyone loved Jesus on that day. And at church on Palm Sunday, we will be given palm leaves to remember that day when Jesus came into Jerusalem and people praised him and waved palm leaves. Let's look at the road map again. We'll look only at the days from Palm Sunday onward. After Palm Sunday, it's day 35, then day 36, and day 37. On day 38, you see a chalice, a cup, and the words Holy Thursday. Just a few days after Jesus arrived in Jerusalem, Jesus gathered with his disciples, the 12 apostles, for a Passover meal. Passover is a special celebration that Jewish people have every year. It lasts for 7 days. The Last Supper that Jesus had with his apostles was a Passover meal. Passover celebrates when God passed over the houses of Jews during the 10th and final plague, right before the Jews left Egypt after 400 years of slavery. Remember, we learned about that when we learned about Moses and the 10 Commandments. Jesus was a Jewish man, and he celebrated Passover. And Jesus' Last Supper with his apostles was a Passover meal. Many artists have made paintings depicting the Last Supper. This painting is perhaps the most famous. The artist is Leonardo da Vinci. This painting is a fresco. That means that the artist painted it directly onto a wall in wet plaster. Over the centuries, some of the paint has flaked off and some of the paint has faded. When Jesus was with his apostles on that day, the day of their Last Supper, Jesus took bread, broke it, and offered it to his disciples. He said, "Take this bread and eat it. This is my body." Before they ate, Jesus washed the feet of his apostles. Jesus showed them that he loved them and that he would serve them. On the number 38 square on the road map, where it says Holy Thursday, there was a chalice, a kind of cup, and a loaf of bread. The loaf of bread is to remind us what Jesus said at the Last Supper. "Take this bread and eat it. This is my body." The chalice is to remind us what else Jesus said at the Last Supper. "Take this and drink from it. This is the chalice of my blood, the blood of the new and eternal covenant." If you listen at Mass, you will hear the priest say those words. And if you come to church on Holy Thursday, you will see priests washing the feet of some people. The people will remove their shoes, and priests will wash their feet. It is done to remember when Jesus washed the feet of his apostles. Sometimes we call Holy Thursday Maundy Thursday, and some people call it Foot Washing Thursday. Don't be afraid to come to church on Holy Thursday. Only a few people will have their feet washed, and they will know in advance. You won't need a pedicure to come to church on Holy Thursday. The next day on the map is number 39, Good Friday. There is a drawing of Jesus nailed to a cross, and there are 2 other crosses. There were 2 other men who were crucified on the same day when Jesus was crucified. We call them the good thief and the bad thief. On this part of the road map, you see red circles in the spaces for days 38, 39, and 40. That is because the shortest season of the church calendar begins on the evening of Holy Thursday. That season is the Triduum. The Triduum begins with Mass on Holy Thursday and continues until evening on Easter Sunday. The color of the season of Triduum is red. One of the two thieves spoke to the other thief as they were hanging on crosses. The thief said, "We have been condemned justly, but this man Jesus has done nothing criminal." Then the thief said to Jesus, "Remember me when you are in your kingdom." Jesus told the thief, "Today you will be with me in paradise." The thief asked Jesus for forgiveness. God will forgive you if you are sorry and ask for forgiveness. We call the good thief Dismas. There is a coloring sheet if you'd like to color a picture of Dismas next to Jesus. On the coloring sheet, you see a crown of thorns around Jesus' head. Above Jesus' head, you see the letters I-N-R-I. The Roman soldiers put the letters there to make fun of Jesus. The letters stand for Jesus of Nazareth, King of the Jews. The words were in Latin, and the first letters of those words in Latin are I-N-R-I. This art depicts Christ crucified between the two thieves. The artist is Rembrandt. The artist cut a picture into a flat, thin sheet of copper, a kind of metal. Then he spread ink onto the sheet of copper. Then he pressed a piece of paper onto the inked sheet of copper. The picture shows Jesus hanging on a cross. On each side of Jesus, there is a man hung on a cross. There were 3 crosses that day. Near Jesus, there are men on horses. Those men are Roman soldiers. There are many people watching. We are told that Jesus' mother was there and saw what happened to her son. Jesus hung on the cross for 3 hours before his body gave out. We remember those 3 hours on Good Friday from noon to 3 p.m. That is day number 39 of Lent. Day 40 is Holy Saturday, when Jesus' body was in a tomb, in a cave behind a giant-sized rock. And the next day is Easter Sunday, when Jesus rose from the dead. On Easter Sunday, people who went to visit the tomb found that the tomb was empty. Come to church on Easter Sunday, and Father Geis will explain that.